So a couple months ago, I posted my post-elopement workflow on social media, and it kind of blew up. So many people commented on it, saved it, and messaged me asking if I really get all of this stuff done by 11 a.m. So today, I'm breaking it all down in way more detail. I'm walking you through exactly what I do after every single elopement and how having a solid, repeatable system can completely change your client experience, your marketing, and honestly, your sanity. If your post-elopement workflow feels chaotic or like it takes over your entire week, this episode is definitely for you. Let's dive in. Welcome to Stoked, the podcast that helps adventure elopement photographers hit six figures and beyond in their businesses without hustling on social media. I'm your host, Megan McPhail, a former burnt-out emergency veterinarian that quit my hard-earned career to become an elopement photographer. Now I'm living a life I absolutely love, full of travel, adventure, and financial abundance, and I am hell-bent on helping you do the same. Are you ready to start booking out your calendar with dream couples in breathtaking locations and feeling genuinely stoked about your elopement photography business, life, and bank account? Then let's dive into this week's episode. Hey, it's your host, Megan McPhail.
And your co-host, Todd.
And today's episode is all about my post-elopement workflow. I posted something about this. It was a few months ago, but I posted on Instagram and got a ton of comments. So I've alluded to my post-elopement workflow and how important it is to standardize it and have a workflow that you do every single time, no matter what, and that having a standard operating procedure kind of reduces mistakes and things falling through the cracks and can improve your client experience. So I'm going to talk about mine because mine is dialed in. And I pretty much get all of this done by 11 a.m. the day after an elopement because Todd and I almost always travel for our elopements and stay in hotel rooms. So a lot of times we're checking out the next day by 11 a.m. and kind of moving on. So that's why my workflow is all about being done by 11 a.m. the next day. So let's get right into it. And I'm going to try to get into more of the technical stuff that I didn't really talk about in my social media posts. And then Todd can talk about what his little workflow is, which is
mostly support role.
Yeah. Yeah, at this time, we're mostly photographing together elopements. He's had video kind of take a back seat for a while. So his role after an elopement is kind of supporting me.
Yeah, there may be husbands or assistants out there that may be listening too. So it could be helpful. So yeah, let's dive into yours because it's probably it is the most important.
Yeah. So when we get back to our hotel room after an elopement, and a lot of times we're photographing until sunset, maybe a little bit later if we're doing a campfire or astrophotography. But my big thing for the night of the elopement is backing up all of our SD cards. And ideally you're doing this to two separate hard drives. And I'm hydrating myself. I'm hydrating, I'm eating, I'm probably having a cocktail and maybe having a protein shake. But really, I want to use this time to back up my images and take care of myself because I'm usually so amped and stoked during an elopement day that I really forget to eat and drink. So I'm kind of doing that night.
Yeah, and you guys have all probably had the day after a wedding hangover or the day after an elopement hangover where you're dehydrated, you're hungry, you're probably sore. So Megan probably didn't throw in there that she usually does take some Advil.
Yeah.
For you young pups out there, maybe it's not that big of a deal, but it is helpful. Even if you're not actively injured or hurt, just a little proactive Advil.
Yeah, and sometimes I'm backing up my SD cards and being like, Todd, will you get me some water and Advil? And then I try to get some good sleep. And the next morning is really when my workflow really starts. So all of my photos, I back up onto a hard drive. I don't really work off of my computer so much. All my Lightroom catalogs are on the hard drive. It just seemed like when I was working off my computer, it got bogged down really badly. So I started putting my Lightroom catalogs and my RAWs all on a hard drive, never on my actual laptop. And I create a new Lightroom catalog for each elopement that we shoot. And this is important for organization, but then also because I work with an editor and I send these catalogs to my editor. So when I upload my images to that Lightroom catalog, I already have my preset applied. So I use a preset that is based off of a film stock that has been used in the wedding industry for like decades. And I kind of did that on purpose. I know like a lot of the newer photographers have issues with like their editing style and stuff like that. And I love so many styles, but I chose this preset so that my images could be consistent. And I've been using this preset since like 2016. So yeah, so that was really a decision, like a business decision that I made for this. So I upload all my images with my preset already applied. That just makes it easier to edit the sneak peeks and stuff like that and kind of see what my images look like with that preset applied. I like never really see what the raw images look like. I don't know. So that makes it pretty easy. And then I select about 20, sometimes up to 40 of my favorite images that I edit as sneak peeks. And these 20 to 40 images are often all throughout the day. They tell a story. They are landscapes with tiny couples. They are capturing the emotions during the vows, their little details. They're the banger photos that I know will stop people scroll on Instagram and in blogs and stuff like that. So when I'm choosing these sneak peeks, I'm doing it with the couple and the story in mind, but then I'm also doing it kind of like with how I want to present things in like a social media post and a blog post in the future. So I edit those sneak peeks. You know, if I can't get the white balance right, I just turn them to black and white real quick, and I try to get these done fairly quickly so that they look really nice. And then I export those photos into a folder on my hard drive, and I upload them to PicTime. So I use PicTime as my gallery delivery software. I love it. I'm running a November print sale right now that typically brings us in quite a bit of money and stuff. So PicTime has been great. And once the sneak peeks upload to their own little folder in PicTime, I send that gallery to the couple via email so that they can also forward it to friends and family, like people that weren't able to see it, and they can get these high res, super awesome images of the elopement by the next morning. I also text my couple because I like to be excited. I like to be like, oh my God, the sneak peeks are up. Check your emails. Let me know which one's your favorite. I always love asking that question because it's always so interesting which ones they pick.
Which aren't usually the same ones that you would pick.
Mm-hmm. And I also feel like that gives good feedback as far as like how to cull the rest of the gallery and like which images to showcase and stuff like that. I don't know. It's so cool to see their feedback for them to be like, oh my God, they're all great, but this one's our favorite. And it's like not what I would have chosen at all. It's very interesting.
Can I interject a few questions here?
Yeah.
As like someone who like, I mean, I know your workflow, but I don't know all the intricacies. About how many percentage of what you deliver in the sneak peeks is in black and white?
Yeah, no, that's a good question because like the final gallery has like 10 to 15% black and white images. And unless an image is like really underexposed and grainy, I always deliver also a color photo because
In the full gallery.
Yeah, in the full gallery, because there have been times where people are like, hey, I love this photo, but do you have it in color too? So I just have always delivered color along with black and white, unless it's only works in black and white, which happens sometimes. But for the sneak peek gallery, I mean, it could be more than that 10 to 15% because if it's really emotional, I like to turn it into black and white. Or if I just can't get the white balance right, if it just looks weird and off and like doesn't, like I can't get the colorings to match the others, I'll turn it black and white. So sometimes there's a good amount. And then if you're shooting with me, if you're second shooting with me, I really struggle because I shoot Canon and Todd shoots Sony. I really struggle with getting those images to look the same as far as the editing and the colors and the tones and the white balance and stuff like that. So I'll often turn his photos black and white. Because there's often really good ones that I like because he primarily shoots on a 70 to 200. And then I kind of rely on my editors to make everything look really cohesive.
All right. And then I have one other question.
Yeah.
Do you save any bangers just to deliver in the full gallery? Like, do you like kind of bookmark those to know that, yeah, this is going to be a great shot, but I'm going to save it to give them something fun and like something new and like another amazing photo?
Yes, but not like...
On
Not
purpose?
super on purpose.
Okay.
Because I'll be honest, Todd, we shoot a lot of bangers.
That's true, yeah.
There's a lot of bangers in there. I don't want to include all the bangers, and like on social media posts, I want to tell a story, and a blog post, I want to tell a story. So I do kind of like choose what I think are the best, because I'm kind of selfish too with these sneak peeks. Like they're for the couples, but they're also kind of for me to market with. So I'll kind of choose the best of the best, but then like the second and third place bangers might be saved until the final gallery delivery. So then they definitely have things to look forward to. But sometimes I'm not really like consciously thinking that. It's just that there's so many good photos.
But you're not actively like withholding any part of the day or any part of the story in the sneak peeks.
No, sometimes I do withhold like the first kiss or something like that. It's different every time. It's just kind of like what I feel. But yeah, my favorite photos are always going to make it into the sneak peeks, because I don't always go back after the final gallery to like send myself photos. So I know me delivering the sneak peeks, like I'm going to airdrop them to myself as well. So I have all these photos I can work with on my phone for marketing and posts and reels, both for Hazel and Lace and our coaching business. So my favorites are going to make it in there.
Okay.
So yeah, so I always text the couple and kind of like try to get their feedback and stuff like that. And then I also have a canned email when I deliver these sneak peeks in pick time that also asks for a review, because so often like our couples are just, after getting sneak peeks and after their whole elopement day, like they're just on cloud nine. It's such a great time to get a review. I also like to email our vendors the sneak peek gallery so that they can start sharing on social media and just kind of like be a part of all the excitement that is the elopement day and the day after the elopement day, and being able to share things on social media is just fun for everyone involved.
Yeah, and I'm sure you're going to talk about kind of the overall time frame, but like that also, like that urgency is, I think, really important, especially to keep your vendors like engaged, because like florists, they're doing a lot of elopements or weddings, and like there's a potential for them to fall through the cracks if too much time elapses before they get that. So it's fresh on their mind. They know who the couple is, they know who you are, and it's just a better marketing tool.
Yeah, I want vendors to be happy. I want them to share my images. I want them to use their images for their own marketing. I want them to link back to me on their website. I want them to tag me on their social media. And even if they don't do those things, I want them to have these photos of their work. They deserve to have that. So I really love sharing with vendors. In the email that I send vendors, I often tell them to check back in a month to see the full gallery, because we always deliver the full final gallery within a month. And just in case I don't get around to emailing the vendors the full gallery gets added to the same place that the sneak peeks are. So they have that link to the gallery. They can always come back and get all the images later on. And in the sneak peek email, I also tell my couples that their full gallery will be delivered by this date, which is basically their 1 month anniversary. That keeps people from ever messaging us and being like, when are the photos going to be done? Because it's always by their 1st month anniversary. And the date is right there in that email. So they know exactly when they're going to get it. And they never have to check in with us, which has saved some back and forth email stuff. So a lot of folks with longer delivery timelines know how antsy couples can get about getting their photos. So I just want people to be able to like relax for that month and then just know that it's going to be there by their 1st month anniversary.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but like it also gives you like a hard deadline to work to, instead of this like nebulous, in like ish 6 weeks ish, whatever that may be. Like you get a hard date that's written. So now your couple knows what they're working towards. You have a date that you're working towards, and it gets everyone on the same page. So expectations are as clear as they can be.
Totally. And I work so much better when I have deadlines in place and when things aren't wishy-washy. That's like the ADHDer in me. Like if there's a deadline, I'm always hitting it. I'm never going past deadlines. So that definitely helps me. But then also like it's easy for me to remember because I memorize all of our elopement dates. I don't need a big reminder on the calendar or anything like that. I just know if I shot an October 5th elopement, I'm delivering their images by November 5th at the very latest. So yeah, so the cool thing, the reason why we're able to deliver images so quickly is because we've been working with the same editing team. It's a husband and wife. Since like 2019, they like cold emailed me and I was stressed. And they were from Denver and I was familiar with them. So I was like, yes, please be my editors. And they save me from awful white balance. Sometimes when I'm editing in hotel rooms, things are just off. So they've saved me all the time. They save me the stress of having like this editing backlog in the back of my mind. So one of the other things I do after I deliver the sneak peeks, those sneak peeks are basically used as anchor images for my editor. And they kind of edit based on that, but still fix things up because they've been editing my photos for so long. They edit better than me at this point. So sometimes they fix things up if I've edited them a little weird, but I will export my catalog from Lightroom. I basically tell them how many images I want them to cull it down to. I export that catalog from Lightroom with smart previews. It gets exported onto my hard drive. I then compress that folder and then upload it via Dropbox for my editors. So that all gets done basically all at the same time that I finish the sneak peeks. And the sneak peeks get airdropped to my phone, and I typically will share like a social media post or something with the images. So yeah, so this entire process is done pretty much by 11 a.m. Todd is often, well, do you want to share what you're doing during that time?
But before we do that, I want to go back because I have a couple questions.
Ooh, okay.
Maybe our listeners are thinking the same things.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have sent now the sneak peeks to your couple.
Mm-hmm.
You have all these great pictures. You're wanting to tell the story because like you're also writing a high, right, from the day after the elopement. Do you wait for them to like acknowledge that they've received them before you post on social media just to make sure you're not like spoiling their party, if you will?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. And again, I feel like that's not something I am like, well, no, I am consciously doing that now that I think about it. Yeah, because like my priority isn't always posting on social media that day. A lot of times it's getting these sneak peeks out to the couple, hearing back from them that they've received them and that they're happy. And then I can maybe switch into like, oh yeah, I'm going to post these on Instagram now. But yeah, I think just naturally part of the workflow is them receiving them first. And some people do post on social media as like the way they deliver the sneak peeks, which is fine too. But I really like to do it via email so that they can forward it to family members. I just think that's important because there's always aunts, uncles, grandparents, parents, best friends, people who really want to see those. They're not necessarily on social media. So but yeah, and I kind of have casual conversations about whether they're okay with me posting on social media. Every once in a while, their friends and family don't know they're eloping.
Yeah, it's like a secret, so you don't want to be the spoiler.
Yeah, it's a big secret. So yeah, I don't want to post. But then sometimes it's a big secret, but nobody knows I exist as their photographer. So they're like, oh yeah, post whatever. So
we had one couple this year that was like, yeah, none of my friends are going to be following you.
Yeah. Yeah. So they didn't care. And I think Henry, too, he photographed our elopement. He actually specifically asked us in an email if we were okay with him sharing our stuff or if we were keeping things a secret. And we could add that to like our workflow, but I just always kind of casually talk about it with my couples anyway.
And I think he also asked us if he could use like our first names or just like initials.
Yeah.
So that could be an option if, you want to like respect your couple's privacy a little bit more.
Yeah, because some couples do value their privacy greatly and others are like, yeah, blast it all over social media. And like they want to see all of it. They want to share it, they want videos up. And then there's everyone in between. So I think just having a conversation with your couples, like a face-to-face one, is the best way to really know what they're okay with and expecting and all that kind of stuff. And then while I'm doing all this stuff in the hotel room, Todd is
not doing anything photo related. So I don't do any of the editing. Megan has her workflow where she just throws in my card or my images. So I'm like doing all the other like background stuff. So like making sure all the camera gear is packed up, locked away, loading coolers, all of our clothes and whatever back into the car. Sometimes like if Megan's on the slower side, like I may go fill the car up with gas, whatever it may be, like go get some snacks or get a meal, just so that when she's ready to go at 11, like we can walk out the door, check out, and be on the road home.
Yeah, because
Again,
I literally finished this at like 11:01. It's like very much like I don't finish early. It's very much like we're walking out the door at 11.
yeah, and it did take us a little bit of time to like figure out how we were going to work together. I think we've talked about it before, but I know there was one time where like I was ready to go and I kind of rushed Megan out the door and like it led to problems down the line of
I was like, my workflow.
yeah, it just messed with her flow and like I mean, her stuff is like the most important, right? Those images and the sneak peeks have to get out
Mhm.
and like if the cooler doesn't have ice in it for the extra little bit to the gas station, it's not that big of a deal, right? So
Mhm.
like her workflow kind of takes precedence, but I know that she's going to be rolling out at 11 o'clock. So I need to have the car ready to go.
Things packed. You get us coffee.
Yeah. So it just kind of makes the whole like day after a little bit easier knowing that Megan has her roles, I have my roles, and we just do it.
Yeah.
Like we don't really have to talk about it anymore because we just know each other what we're going to do.
Yeah. And it's honestly pretty great because then to have, like when you're working with your partner, to have very set roles, because then you don't have to talk. You don't have to like be like, are you doing this or am I doing this? Or did this get done? It gets done, it flows. And you're able to just put your head down and worry about what you need to worry about. And what I love about having such like a strict workflow is that nothing falls through the cracks and your couples all get the same experience, which I mean, they don't know that it's the same, but they are happy with the experience that they're getting. If you're kind of like switching things up all the time, that involves a lot of brain power. And I really try to reduce the amount of brain power I use for everything. It's like I'm literally just in automated mode. I'm like, I do this and then I do this and then I do this and then I do this and this means this. And I don't have to think about anything really, except which photos I really love. It just makes everything so smooth. And I know, like, some photographers that I've coached and stuff like that, they're kind of doing things different every time. And that's just when things get messed up. And it might take you some time to really dial in your workflow and be like, this is it. And I can do it so easily. And like, we know we're not leaving till 11. So we know like how far we're going to drive. We know like we can just plan our life around what our post-elopement workflow looks like and how much we need to recover and the work that we need to get done and all that kind of stuff. So like that's another thing I see a lot of photographers do where because their workflow isn't set in stone, they might book a flight really early the next morning or something like that. And we would never do that because we have it nailed down. So it just makes everything easier, less chaotic, less brain power, less things falling through the cracks, more happy clients, and you're able to do more when you're not reinventing the wheel every time.
All that being said, do you have any tips or advice for people who are just out there doing elopements or weddings on their own when they
Mhm.
don't have their partner or an assistant to help pack the car or do all the
Yes.
things that I do? Knowing that you did that for, I mean, years before me. So
Yeah.
it's definitely doable.
Oh, yeah. I was a one-woman show for a long time. And when I was traveling by myself, I would always book an extra night in the hotel. Like, I would never leave the next day.
Ooh, okay.
The way I would book myself out was like so that I could have that rest day the following day. Because if I was doing sneak peeks and then immediately getting in a car and driving, like my body couldn't take it. I should also mention, like, I have issues, like physical issues. I have really bad back problems and really bad neck problems. And being with Todd has helped a lot because he takes over a lot of the heavy lifting and bending over that used to like really strain my back. But like there were some days that I like couldn't really move the day after an elopement. So I would really take that time. I would still pretty much get sneak peeks done by the morning because I'm not deviating from my plan. But then I would take the rest of the day, even if I was in a really cool place, I would veg the F out. I would rot in bed. I'd order DoorDash. I would watch Forensic Files on the hotel television and just be really chill. Sometimes I would get some good marketing work done, but I would take that extra day for myself. So I think that's actually a really good point that a lot of photographers should consider when pricing themselves and traveling for this kind of stuff. What does your recovery day look like? Because if I didn't have you to carry all my shit and drive me places, I would need that rot in the bed day. to recover and get all my work done for that day. So yeah, I had some pretty significant physical limitations. I always felt great on an elopement day. Those are some of my best pain-free days because even though I'm hiking and fluffing dresses and carrying camera gear, like the adrenaline and the excitement and the stoke levels always made me feel really good, but then I'd pay for it later. So, and this is all, hopefully this inspires anybody that has chronic pain issues, like you can do this. You just might have to do things a little bit slower than the young pups, as we say. And then, so when I get my finished gallery back from my editor, I basically pay for it, download it, get it onto my hard drive, and then import it into Lightroom into that catalog that I had made for that specific couple. And then I'm able to look at all of my culled images and edited images. I kind of go through, just make sure everything looks okay, maybe do some light skin touch-ups or something like that. But then I'm typically able to, because I do such a good job, is export all of those images fairly quickly and deliver it fairly quickly. So this is turning into like just a big, like, oh my God, I love my editors. They make my life so easy. But if you don't have editors and you are editing, you can still have a very specific workflow. You can still deliver your sneak peeks the next day, ask for a review the next day. You can still set an editing deadline that's like a hard deadline, not like a 8 to 12 weeks where it's really wishy-washy and couples are going to reach out to you wondering what's happening. You can still get a lot of these things done. But for me, editing and culling was such a drain on my energy that I just can't do it. So cool. Well, hope you liked this episode. Hopefully it's helpful. And I hope you dial in your workflow and then it goes really smoothly for you. See you next week. Thanks so much for joining us on this week's episode of Stoked. If you enjoyed the show and you'd like to help support the podcast, please subscribe, leave a review, and tell a friend. If you're looking for more inspiring elopement photography content, check us out on Instagram at Megan McPhail. And if you'd like to hear more about my business coaching and how I can personally help you hit 6 figures as an elopement photographer, then check out my website at www.meganmcphail.com.